Okay, graphical user interfaces versus command line interfaces. What are they and why should you care about them? Well, first I should mention that Linux, unlike Windows, has many of them. Like I said before, Linux is an open source operating system, and one of the benefits of being such an operating system is the fact that there are a wide variety of components to it made by different people. Now, I'm not gonna show you each of them. However, I will show you my personal favorite. It's called Kda Plasma 5, and the reason I like it because it's one of those graphical user interfaces that very closely resembles Windows. Let me just log in and show you. So as you can see, we have a start button, we have a taskbar, we have a calendar and a clock, and we have the taskbar icons. So it very closely resembles a Microsoft environment, and it's simply just familiar to most people. There are, however, Linux distros that don't come with a graphical user interface, like servers, for example. And this is because a graphical user interface is considered non-essential to run a server. The main purpose of a server is to run essential services as efficiently as possible. So you don't really need to dedicate processing power and RAM for something that's just more convenient for a human. And here's a good example. We have an operating system that's just the shell. As you can see, there's nothing to interact with a mouse, and so the only thing you can do is just type in commands. Now, of course, you can also access a terminal despite having a graphical user interface. To open a terminal in a graphical environment, you simply search for it in the menu, or you can open a terminal by pressing the shortcut keys Ctrl-Alt-T. When studying Linux, it's very important for you to know how to use the shell. The Linux shell is called Bash, short for Born Again Shell, and it's named after Steve Born, the guy who first invented the original Unix shell. You can easily remember the name by just thinking of one of those action movies starring Matt Damon. What were they called? The Born Supremacy, the Born Legacy, the Born Again Shell. Okay, so let's start off with something simple. When you want to know where you are in a Linux directory, you can use the command pwd, which stands for Print Working Directory. So whenever you want to know at any given time where you are in the Linux directory, you just type pwd in the shell. Another useful command to use is the ls command. ls standing for list. And it shows you the content on the folder you're currently navigating. And list also has different attributes that you can use to view the files and folders that are contained in the path you're currently navigating. To see a full list of all the options you can use with ls, you can type man, which stands for manual, and then ls. And this is sort of a manual built in Linux that you can use to study for any command really. And as you can see, one of the options we can use with ls is -a, which shows all the content in a folder, including hidden files. So if I type again ls -a, we have a bigger list of things in our directory. Files starting with a dot are files that are hidden to normal users, and the only way to see them is if we explicitly tell ls to show them to us. To clear all the content on the screen, you can type the command clear. And as I said before, if you want to search for information regarding any command in the shell, you can type man, short for manual, followed by the name of the command. Press up and down to navigate the manual page. Press Q for quit. If you want to use a command you previously typed, but you're too lazy to type again, the terminal can remember up to 1000 commands. So that's a history of 1000 commands. You can scroll using the up and down keys on your keyboard. If you would like to navigate to a different folder, let's say for example you would want to access the desktop folder, you can type cd, short for change directory, and the name of the folder, in our case capital D E, and I don't have to type the entire name of desktop. I can just hit tab and it auto-completes for me the name of the folder I want to access. Okay, so now we're in our desktop, and if we create a new folder right here and name it test, then we type ls, we can see now that it listed the folder we now created. And if we want to access it, we just type again cd space t tab to autocomplete test, hit enter, and now we're in the test folder. If you want to go back a folder, you can press cd space dot dot, and what it does, it moves you back to the previous folder on the directory hierarchy. And with the cd command you can specify two different types of paths. There's a relative path like the one I just typed, and an absolute path. And an absolute path looks something like this: home / my name / my desktop / the test folder I just made on my desktop. Hit enter and it brings me all the way to that folder. Now if you want to go all the way back to the root where all the top folders are located, you can type cd space \, and now I'm at the very beginning of all the folders on my operating system. To see the time and date in the command line, you can type in date to see the current date, and you can type cal to see the full calendar of the month. And if you want to set the time and date manually, you can type date -s, and you start with the day, then the month, then the year, and then you type in the hour, minute and second. And I'm not gonna hit enter because I don't want to set the date to the one I just typed. If you're finished working in the terminal and wish to close it, you can just type exit and you will close the terminal. And of course, if you're logged into an operating system which doesn't have a graphical user interface, you can just simply exit. You can either restart it by typing reboot, power off if you want to power off the machine, or simply log out if you want to exit the session. And these are the basic navigation commands that will help you get started using the Linux shell. There are of course many other interesting things to learn, so I will see you in the next video.